coach and industrial psychologist from Lehlohonolo HR Consulting. Our organization enables individuals, teams, and organizations to transition effectively to lead a purposeful and successful life. Today, we have Dr. Thandiwe Gama. She recently published a book, Business in the 21st Century. It's a relevant book for today's challenges that we are facing, as a country and organizations. So she's going to share with us her experience. What was the journey like? And what does she has in plan for us, for the future? And then Dr. Gama is an industrial psychologist, and then she's also an executive and leadership coach. She has a company called TNL Consulting, which offers psychological, organizational, and psychological services. So she will talk to us more about that later, during the process. But let's start, Dr. Gama. This is a big undertaking, to publish a book. Tell us, why did you decide to publish a book, and who was it for?
Hi, Sylvia. Thank you for the opportunity for me to just reflect and talk about the book. As you indicated, it's just been recently published. Why I wrote the book, the book is a product of indicated. The topic of the book lends itself very much to the challenges, to the relevance of the context and the challenges that business finds itself in during the 21st century and during the era of globalization. And secondly, as a PhD student, having looked at this book, I undertook to try and share whatever findings from the book with the rest of the business fraternity, with other people that may find interest in the book, because the book is also usable by those that are in consulting in business, as I have used it myself in some of the consulting work during presentations, where I have taken certain aspects of the book and shared it with my colleagues, shared it with my clients, and try to find some solutions and some reflection of where we are as business and where we're going. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you. So in terms of the journey, coming up with a book like this, it takes a lot, for you as a person. So what was some of your ups and downs during this process?
Sylvia, the very first down, if I may start with a down, was that personally, I'm happy that the book is done. I'm more than satisfied. However, it took far longer than what I anticipated. It took me about 2.5 years to write the book. And so in that sense, I felt maybe I took too long, but I also realized that I was undertaking the book whilst I was also busy with my work as an independent consultant and a mother as well. On the upside, yes, I'm happy the book is launched. I'm happy the book is available as a resource to whoever can use the book. And I believe it's a book that can offer some insights to the business world and those that leading companies in South Africa and probably even across the globe.
Yeah, you indicated, pertinent challenges that people are faced with, because there's a lot of demands that individuals have. They're facing with, you have to do the book, you have to study, you have to, and because of the challenges that we have, it's actually commendable that at the end you have a product to show that you have actually delivered. So it probably took a lot of persistence on your side.
It did, actually. It took a lot of persistence, because at some point, without going into details with this, one of the professor that was championing my study, the professor that walked the journey with me, passed on during the process. And when we started the book was going to be co-written between the two of us. It's another reason that actually pushed me to try and complete the book. It's just in honor of my late professor, because I know that had he been alive, it would probably have been published, and maybe even earlier than what I did. But I'm still proud of myself, having undertaken and persevered right to the end to see it being published finally.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
takes dedication, to be able
Yeah,
to come
yeah.
to that stage. And then so let's look at some of the pertinent things, in your book. There's a framework that you talk about in your book, the 3-layered framework. Talk to us about that.
The 3-layered framework is a framework that I undertook to construct when I started my thesis, because I was looking at South Africa as a business case. And looking at South Africa as a case warranted me to look at business and the context that business finds itself in within the country. And one of the things that stood out very clearly is that business people in South Africa and business leaders in South Africa sit in a very unique situation, because as the first layer of the framework, they have to deal with the ramifications and the legacies of the apartheid era. Those challenges still form part of agendas in many boardrooms in business today. Those challenges are still prevalent in many businesses, whether we're talking discriminatory practices and so forth. So there's that legacy as the first layer that they have to deal with. The second layer looks at the reality that much as South African leaders and business is still looking at the first layer challenges, they also have to deal very much so with the challenges of the second layer, positioning themselves in the global spaces as the global player, because the era of globalization is here. But whilst they're also looking at that as well, there is the emergence of the 21st century. We are indeed in the 21st century now. And the 21st century alone comes with its own unique challenges, the challenges of unpredictability, the challenges of speed, the challenges of global competitiveness. So all of those challenges bring the turbulence to the business people in South Africa that is more multifaceted and as a result, a little bit unique than any other business that finds itself anywhere else in the world. So I was looking at that framework as the case, building a case to say, South African business, you are sitting with challenges that are at a heightened complexity. The level of complexity is heightened. So I was looking at that.
Yes, yeah. And then now, you were talking about the multifaceted, the complexity at that stage. When you were writing a book, it was before the pandemic, and then now we have the pandemic. So yes. How is this playing out, with the pandemic now, you're adding much more complexity?
Yes, Sylvia, the truth is that even though the book was written and published just before the pandemic set in, the book in itself talks about the complexity of the world that we live in. The book in issues of speed highlights issues of ourselves in. And the COVID is a classic example of how unprecedented change can just impose itself on us. And as we know, COVID is here. COVID has literally disintegrated, if not affected, our social lives. The life that we've always been, it has changed. A new life is emerging. So the book finds its relevance in a sense that the book says, look, we are living in a world of constant change. Change is here, change is a reality. And for us to be able to deal with the future, we must deal with the present. But the present is forever changing. The present is forever posing us with unsurmountable challenges, and challenges that require quick decision making, which is also a fact, because right now, in the times we live in, business people find themselves despite all of these complexities, ambiguities, and the turbulence and the changes, they have to make sober decisions, sound decisions, decisions that are supposed to position and highlights that are found in the book, wherein the book finds itself in its relevance in even within the COVID realities, because COVID is an enormous change that has set itself in. So yeah, I was looking at that. I was looking at change basically in the book. Yes.
So what advice can you give a manager who's looking at this and saying, yes, I know, I'm aware of the changes. How do I deal with these changes? So how do you advise the managers? Because people will be going into the book, checking it out, and they understand the dynamics and the challenges that are unfolding on a daily basis. So how do you advise as a practitioner? How do you advise, the managers to handle these challenges?
Sylvia, one of the key challenges that any person that finds himself or herself within business and leading business or managing at an executive level, strategic level in business, they are now faced with the task of having to look at business with a different eye, having to look at business from the perspective of saying, what has COVID and the experience of COVID brought that will change the business that we know, the setup that we know. And in other words, they have to determine what is changing and what is not changing. And whatever it is that is changing will warrant that they look at it in a critical way and say, look, what decisions do we need to make, and how well thought should those decisions be, and how timely or timeless should those decisions be. So a new normal has emerged. It is a fact. And the new normal warrants some decisions by the managers, by the leaders in business. And whatever it is that they have to re-engineer, reorganize in terms of business must still be well thought enough to position the business, for instance, to even sustain or be resilient to any further changes, any further unprecedented changes, any further disturbances that may occur within business. Because times have changed, Sylvia, and it's often said that, the times we live in, forget the pandemic, but the times we live in are times such that no one can ever think that the business of business is business. The business of business is today. And what is today within? Today, the context that today financial, so to speak. I don't know if that answers your question, but yes, those are the challenges that managers and leaders in business have to find now back on their agendas in the boardrooms, back on their agendas in strategy setting meetings, back on their agendas, even in meetings with organized labor, because things have changed. Things have changed, and some of the things have changed permanently now. They could never be reversed back. So that is my thinking in terms of what awaits any business manager or any business leader taking it from here onwards.
Yes, yeah. So it's a long haul. The agenda has increased now, and it's really unusual.
Yeah.
So from your company, how do you support the business, to be able to reach the goals that they've set for themselves, to be able to navigate this change so that they can be able to effectively transition beyond this period?
Business will have to be helped in terms of defining their future, defining the position and the direction that business has to take. As I indicated earlier on, and it's one of the things that I also actually indicate in the book, that we are in the era of sustainability. The 21st century is the era of sustainability, business sustainability. in that sense, business is faced with having to institute measures in business that will ensure that their business not only sustains, but the business thrives in the 21st century. So those are the challenges as us as practitioners, is to sit with businesses, our clients, determine actually, because like I said earlier on, in any business, some things have changed, some things have not changed. Is to sit with them and say, let's thresh out what has changed, what has not changed, and where do we pick up the pieces and go from here, be it from a point of strategy crafting or even recrafting, be it in a point of maybe looking at revising some of the policies, be it a point where we look at probably even the social spacing, the cultures, because COVID has come with a new norm of social distancing. What does it mean for company culture? What does it mean for people in the workplace? What does it mean for people as they interact, as they relate in the places of work? So all of those have to come on the table now. I suppose as OD consultants, we have to help business really try and make sense of this. And out of that sense making, try and help them inculcate and pave a way that will still give them some sense of stability, if I may say.
Yeah, so basically it's a partnership between the business and the practitioner to make sure
yes,
the transition is effective.
Yes, formidable partnerships have to be formed. Formidable partnerships and communication in terms of looking into the future. So it's not only perhaps just the consultants, those that will consult with business, but line managers within business themselves. They have to rethink what their role is. HR managers, for instance, that sit in business, they now have to look at what does employee relations and time management mean for somebody that's working from home now. Staff that are over 60, that cannot go back to the office in the immediate sense. Who takes up that role? And if that role distribution amount to work out. So it's not just managers and executives that will be faced with the task. Even going down to line managers and even support managers, like in your HR field, like in your procurement field, all of those things have come to the table now. In many ways, I think. This is just my thinking in terms of where we could offer assistance and partnership to business.
Yes, yeah. So I think it just reinforce that everyone needs to come to the table, because from a business side and also from the support side, it helps to be able to move the business to the next level.
Yes. Not just move the business to the next level, but position the business for even further unprecedented changes that could occur, that at this stage are not even thought about. Because I think from this experience, it would be really for business to position themselves. They will have to really rethink about how do they almost future-proof themselves for any further disturbances, in however way those disturbances can come.
Yes, yeah. So it's an ongoing process of rebranding, repositioning.
Yes, and moving forward. Yes.
No, the book it's out now. It's available. Your book is available on which platforms, and then where can people get hold of you if they want to engage with you?
The book itself is available on Amazon online, and it's also available on many of the universities in the country, university libraries, and is also available on the major city libraries like your Cape Town, Durban, Mpumalanga, the book is available there as well. Yeah. In terms of myself, I mean, the work of a consultant, I suppose, is in a way ongoing. We have networks that we work with, other consultants, other people that are consulting in the area of business strategies, consulting in the area of coaching, consulting in the area of, as HR practitioners, strategy crafting and strategy management. So it's those networks that now have to realign and maybe form teams in trying to help business. So business continues in that sense for us. And we will also have workshops. We will also have some of the webinars on some of the topics that business has to deal with. I know, for instance, in the next 2 weeks or so, we are planning a webinar where we'll be dissecting some of these in terms of organizational structures within business. What does it mean now? What does, for instance, issues of communication will be handled in business now that people will be working online, some of the people working remotely from the offices. In terms of teaming up, how do we still form formidable teams, even though we sit virtually in our different homes and we can only contact each other through online means? So there is a workshop that is coming. So it's such platforms, it's such interventions that will still be ongoing. But other than that, we're available on email. The business, we're available on email, through social networks, your Twitter. We are trying to make ourselves as available as out there as possible.
Yeah. Thank you for spending time with us, and all the best in your journey. And I think this is a valuable resource, because times like this, people are looking for information. Where can I get information? Where can I get assistance? Because as individuals, to be able to shift where we are at now, there's a lot of shifts that needs to happen, across all the levels, So it's important for individuals to know where to go to, for that kind of support. And then the collaborations that, we're starting to see now, also like with our company, your companies, those are things that are needed for the future. Because as consultant, you can't just work in silo, work alone, so there's that kind of collaboration that we are starting to see most people doing that, because the more skill sets that you use in a particular, then you'll be able to target even bigger contracts, bigger organizations as well.
Yes, I mean, in our world of consulting, particularly in as industrial psychologists, our field is designed such that you could never be able to survive on your own. We work on collaboration, we work on project teaming, we work on associations. For instance, the webinar that is upcoming is a webinar where I serve on so that's just the nature of our work. This is how we work as industrial psychologists, and I suppose even in other areas of work as consultants, this is how we team up and address client needs, because it's not possible. We are not all experts in everything. So you have to team up with other experts so that you're able to offer your clients a comprehensive solution, so to speak. Okay. Yes.
No, thank you very much for your time, Dr. Gama. We'll be checking out, everyone will be checking out your book, so that they can also look forward for the interventions that you have suggested, things that you'll be bringing out. So we'll be checking out your website and the information so that we can see, how can we engage with you.
Yes, from time to time, there will be certain aspects even if it's just short writings or short webinars on the book, just to, again, still sort of give it more life so that people know about it out there. But yeah, let's look to the, yeah.
Okay.
No, thank you for your time. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Thank you for the opportunity.
It's a pleasure. Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.